So just because Pokemon cards are reaching all-time highs and there is some Pokemon scarcity going on out there, it doesn't mean that there are some amazing opportunities of some undervalued cards that you can pick up for your own binders or your collection. Today we're going to look at a list of cards that I think is very undervalued and very, very affordable, and just amazing pieces of artwork and beautiful cards to add to your collection. So my first honorable mention that I want to talk about is the Galarian Moltres V. And the reason why this is an honorable mention as well as the next couple we're going to talk about is because they're kind of priced out of that budget range, I would say. But Galarian Moltres V right now is showing a market price of $130, which I think is a little bit weird, because if you really look at the sales data, it's not a $130 market price card. You have moderately played listings lower than that, but in near mint, these are selling for in that 180 range, 160 range. Now, if you're at a convention or somewhere like that, you might be able to find this just a little bit cheaper at some booths, if they're willing to work with you, but definitely an honorable mention and just a stunning card. This is one of my favorite artworks from the era. And again, most of the stuff we're going to be talking about today is the Sword and Shield era. We'll get into Scarlet and Violet a little bit later, but I didn't really want to talk too much about Scarlet and Violet because I do feel like a lot of those sets still have the potential to see some reprints or restocks. Sword and Shield, I don't believe we're going to see a whole lot of that, so I think this is just going to be kind of a guide for the Sword and Shield era when it comes to a lot of the cards we're going to be talking about today. Espeon VMAX is going to be the next card I want to talk about as an honorable mention. Again, very, very high and not budget friendly in terms of price. But realistically, I still think that this card has a lot of room to move. I do know that it's like, hey, everybody, it's at $300 already. What are you talking about? But the artwork on this card, as well as a lot of the evolutions right now, especially with prismatic evolutions kind of hitting the table, a lot of those cards in the market, eBay, graded copies of them being sold in the thousands, which is crazy. So it's driving a lot of cards up right now. And I realistically think that looking at the Espeon, if you look in here, you can see some sales in the low 200s or mid 200s earlier this month, last week. So I think that you can scoop this up anywhere under $250. Like if you see it, I think that's a solid buy on this. Again, just a card that I think is solid to purchase, but again, this isn't kind of in that budget range that we're looking at, kind of like at the $60 range and below. All right, so number 10 on our list is the Galarian Birds in Gold from Brilliant Stars. Now, all three of these are under $10. The Articuno coming in at $7. And guys, these are actually like some of the best gold cards. A lot of the gold cards get kind of like, I guess, like muddled up with color, and these just pop so well. They look fantastic, and for under $10, these are fantastic cards for your collection. They look so beautiful, and I know a lot of people were going crazy for these in Pokemon Go recently, so I'm actually surprised that these didn't move when a lot of people were kind of melding together in the Pokemon Go community and the Pokemon TCG community. But all three of these, the colors pop really good, and again, you guys can find these for about $10 or less. I know the listing up here says 16, but you are still able to find listings of near mint copies for under $10. And again, I think that they are fantastic additions to your collection. If you're looking for gold cards, we're going to be taking a look more at some trainer galleries and alternate arts today, but I had to put these on the list because for $10 and less, you just kind of can't beat that on these cards. They're fantastic. All right, so 9 on our list is actually from Evolving Skies. Now everybody's like, oh man, the Moonbreon and all these other crazy cards in this set, but to me, there's a lot of beautiful artworks among the evolutions, don't get me wrong, but we're going to go a couple pages over and we are going to take a look at a card that I think gets overlooked a lot, and I think the artwork on it is absolutely stunning, and it is so affordable for anybody looking to pick up beautiful pieces of artwork, and it is the Golurk V. I think this looks absolutely stunning. I think the artwork on this by Kato is awesome, and these copies, guys, coming in under $20. So you can get this alternate art for under 20 bucks right now, and I think that there's going to be some fluctuation, don't get me wrong. Now that we're in the boom, a lot of these cards do possibly have the opportunity to go down, but I think a lot of these undervalued cards that haven't really seen like a crazy run up, they saw a big dip, a little bit of recovery, but a lot of these cards, man, are just so beautiful. And I think this Golurk just in general is a stunning card, and it's just not a very big Pokemon fan favorite, but if you admire a lot of artwork and you look at the Swablu that are on here, I think it's just a stunning card, and it's definitely undervalued, coming in around that $15 range. All right, so in the number 8 slot, I want to talk about two cards kind of together. They're in the same set, and they're very similar in price. Now, one is the Origin Form Palkia V from Astral Radiance. Now, the one from Astral Radiance kind of has this crazy, like, chaos warp like world that it's in. It looks super crazy, but I've always enjoyed the artwork for this, and I think it just didn't get enough credit. It just looks absolutely beautiful. I know a lot of people too prefer the regular forms of Palkia and Dialga, I believe, over the Origin form, so maybe that's the reason why this didn't get a lot of love. It has seen a little bit of a jump back. Like, you were able to get these for in the 30s not too long ago, a month ago, and they are starting to see a little bit of a run up right now. Let's go ahead and look at sales data, because now I'm curious on this. So you can still get these in the low 40s, and I still think that that is a solid buy for an under $50 card. Beautiful piece of artwork, alternate art from the Sword and Shield era, and I do think a lot of these cards from the Sword and Shield era are going to continue to kind of fluctuate and move up and down, But then also we have the Dialga V, which I said before in the set, and just this card is stunning. I love the artwork on it. It saw a little bit of a run up not too long ago. Like if you look at I think the 6-month chart, there was a little bit of a run up earlier this year to around this range, and it was because the deck was kind of picking up a little bit of play. Actually, I think it was more like on the 1-year chart. Yeah, there it was. Okay, so it ran back up in May when Dialga was kind of seeing the format again, and then it ran back down when the deck was less prominent. So you had a second chance to kind of really get in on the floor level on this at $31. But still, even if you're able to find copies, guys, in that 35 to 50 range, I do think that this card is another stunning card that is still pretty budget friendly when it comes to alternate arts, and also pretty popular Pokemon. I would say that the legendaries are still pretty popular Pokemon in the realm of all these cards. It's not just like Golurk, that's not necessarily a legendary Pokemon like we talked about before, but Arceus and Dialga both being, you know, in that legendary or mythical category. I do think that these are going to track very, very well in the future. All right, so coming in at number 7 on my list is the Lumineon V alternate art from Brilliant Stars, and this is another one for under $20, guys. You can find near mint copies for this under $20 right now. I was actually picking up copies of this for $10 last week at some conventions, with Charlie's Collectibles show, and then one of the side trade shows at the Cumberland Mall that we had. There were copies for only $10 near mint copies, not even played copies of this card, and it is stunning. I do think this is a little bit better to me personally than the counterpart that they made in the Crown Zenith Galarian Gallery. I do think this one is a more depth artwork, and it's just stunning. Lumineon, again, not a super popular Pokemon, but if you were an art person and you just want something beautiful for your binder that is very budget friendly, I do think the Lumineon V is a fantastic choice as well. All right, so in the next slide, it's kind of a combo of 2 alternate arts that I think from Fusion Strike that are getting a little bit of love now, but they were definitely underrated for a little while. The Celebi V, very surprisingly, this card hovered at like $40 for the longest time and didn't move like at all. I mean, even going back in a year chart, you saw a little bit of a run up almost to 50 and then hovered back down below 30. So you had another opportunity similar to that Dialga to pick this card up. And then now with this big boom, a lot of the alternate arts and things are running. I do think that if you can pick this card up for under $50, I would say that that would be the range I really would comfortably be at for this card. It does seem like there are a lot of sales in the 60s, but I do think that you're still going to be able to, if you act fast, you still should be able to pick these up in and around the $50 range. Somewhere on eBay not too long ago, like within the last 24 hours that I saw, is buy it nows if they weren't scooped up. But then again, some of these locally are still in that 50 range, so I think this is a fantastic one to talk about. But then also in the same set, I would kind of classify in the same kind of like genre, or like on the same tier of the list, is the Genesect. The Genesect from this set, the breakdancing alternate art Genesect, is absolutely beautiful. Smeargle just chilling in the background here. I think this is another fantastic artwork that you can add to your binder for a relatively decent price. And you guys can get these for under $20. Near mint copies going for $20. Don't pay attention to this. I know a lot of people kind of get turned away when they click on a picture of a card and they see this price up here. Always go and check the listings, guys, because there are near mint copies here by people that do have good reputations and a lot of sales under their belt. So it's not just because this is direct, it's showing here, but just because these people may not be direct doesn't mean they're not good sellers. So always check to see if they have some kind of sales data from reputable sellers, but still able to get this card for under $20. So again, this and the Celebi, I think, coming in that 6th spot. Really, really good artworks to add to your binder too. All right, now in the number 4 spot, I don't know how this card is so cheap. The Zacian V from the Trainer Gallery. Now, this is one of the ultra rares from the Trainer Gallery. Trainer Gallery has 2 different types. You have the yellow borders, which are kind of like the lower rarity, and then the ultra rare from the Galarian Gallery. The harder ones to pull, your silver borders and your secret rares. Some of them are secret rares, and your black bordered ones from Trainer Gallery. And this card coming in under $10. You're able to get copies for under $10 of the Zacian V. This card is absolutely beautiful. This is my favorite artwork of Zacian out of any of the cards that have been released. SAR, alternate art, anything. This is the best one. I think this looks absolutely amazing. Zacian just chilling there with a hop on the card, and it's just a breathtaking piece of artwork to add to a binder. And this is definitely an eye stopper. Like, if you appreciate artwork or just appreciate Pokemon in general, like, this is an eye stopper. I don't care what anybody says. Even if you're not a Zacian fan, this card is beautiful. All right, so now going on to the 3rd spot here, and it's going to be 3 cards in the 3rd spot, and it is going to be the Beasts from Crown Zenith. I think all three of these are amazing. Now, I'm a little bit biased when it comes to this because you guys know me and you know that Crown Zenith is like my favorite set pretty much of all time. That's not vintage if I ever get to open like any of the vintage ones that are just like on my bucket list ever. But my favorite set to open, to go through, to collect, it is this set. If anybody asks what set should I open, I'm new to Pokemon, Crown Zenith. I always send them to Crown Zenith, and it is finally starting to move. A lot of these cards are starting to move now. We had the Sea and Sky boxes put a surge of product out there, and then it's all dried up. There are probably going to be some more drops on that again. So if you guys can get your hands on Sea and Sky boxes for like anywhere under $80, I think on TCG Player on eBay for 14 packs the set. So it's getting them around $6 a pack. I think that is a fantastic deal if you can find it. But we're going to talk about the beasts. I think all three of these cards coming in under $50. The Suicune closest to 50. Actually, the Raikou is the cheapest at $25. I was able to pick some of these up for 25 bucks last week, but I think this card is absolutely beautiful. And again, looking at the sales data, they range anywhere from 25 to like 35, but all three of them under $50. I think all three are fantastic additions to your collection. They are pretty budget friendly. They're not on the lower end like the $20 end that we were looking at before. These are going to be in that 30 to 50 range. But I think also if you find a vendor or somebody that has all three of them, they might be willing to work out a deal if you pick up all three at once. That's another thing too, if you guys are shopping out there at conventions or at other places, if you are willing to pick up multiple cards at the same time, sometimes people are more willing to work with you on the price, depending on what it is and if they've already had it priced down low or below market already. So keep that in mind as you guys kind of go out there. Don't feel weird to offer a price. Don't be like crazy and offer like half the price of what it is. But obviously just like make an offer, and the worst they can say is no, and then you just buy it for the price that it is. Or if you don't like the deal, then you can buy it from another vendor or just go buy it online. But I highly recommend definitely trying to find vendors that have multiple pieces that you guys want to pick up, because that is a good way to kind of like hedge your value a little bit in terms of when you're picking up more at once. You can get your cost average down on some of these items. But all the beasts, fantastic cards. I think these are definitely a solid number 3 spot for me on my list. And they're just fantastic cards. I love all the cards from Crown Zenith. Let's be real. There's a lot of undervalued cards in here, and I can't get to all of them, but these are definitely on my list. And then right after this, on the same list, to me, I actually think that this is more undervalued than the beast, just because of the value where it's at right now. The Hisuian Zoroark. This artwork is so insane. This artwork is just jaw-dropping. It is absolutely phenomenal. And let's look at some of the sales data on it. So still copies for under $20, consistently being sold for near mint copies, guys. So for under 20 bucks, this is a shoe-in to add to your binder. And before all the prices from Crown Zenith really start to go crazy, once more and more of those packs continue to get ripped, and a lot of these prices of a lot of these singles are going to go up once the booster packs price or the sealed product price goes up. These singles are probably going to follow suit, depending on what happens with the boom. This is the other reason why I'm definitely talking about more budget-friendly cards compared to like $200 and $300 and $400 cards. I do think are still good investments depending on what they are. Don't get me wrong. But I think it's safer to go and look at some of these undervalued cards that are just beautiful pieces of artwork. And you can fill up binders with so many cards that just look fantastic for your collection. If you're going for master sets, that's a little bit different. But again, even if you're going to master sets, Crown Zenith to me is definitely a set that, for the price of all the singles that are in it, yes, it's a large set and there's a lot of Galarian Gallery cards, but I think overall, I think the value of the set is worth mastering. If you have some time to open some packs or chase down some of the singles, or even find a vendor that has a lot of the singles that could really work with you if you're trying to complete that whole master set. All right, guys, and at the top of my list, this card is still, for some reason, only $30. I don't understand how. This card is beautiful. Arceus is still a very popular Pokemon. I know there are a lot of different cards out there for Arceus that do look great, but this alternate art from Brilliant Stars is just absolutely amazing. Above the clouds, just shimmering. The artwork's fantastic on it. And then just look at the sales data on this. There's still so many copies being sold in the low 30s. Like, it is ridiculous how many copies are still being sold on this card. There's a lot out there, I guess, but just so many copies being sold in the 30 range. Man, this is definitely at the top of my list because I think that this card has the most upwards potential with a lot of these Sword and Shield sets, because I do think that the Arceus and the Charizard from this set are the front runners that are really driving a lot of the prices of the booster boxes from this set. Charizard's also an amazing card, and this thing's seen a wild ride up and down, but again, looking at the chart on this, if you go back to 1 year, definitely a lot of crazy valleys and peaks with that card. But the Arceus has just been so untouched, I feel like, for so long. I do think that this card is primed and ready to go on a little bit of a move. And again, it is a safe play. I don't think this card is just going to plummet down to 15, 20 bucks. So I do think if this is a card that you pick up a few copies or even a play set for yourself or something like that, I do think that this is a solid pick up for your binder, for your collection. It's also a good card to grade. I think the multiplier on this one for grading is really good. I haven't looked at sales data on PSA 10s lately, but the multiplier for this one wasn't that bad when it came to that the last time I checked. But overall, this would definitely be my top pick. And then pretty much anything in Crown Zenith that you can get your hands on right now before that starts really moving are my choices. Hopefully you guys got some good information today. This is just personally what I would be picking up if I was looking to fill a binder, if I was new to the collecting card world and really not wanting to pay any of these crazy prices or having trouble getting a hold of any sealed product or singles as well. Guys, go out there to conventions, go to local game stores, go to trade nights, go to all these places to get your toes wet and talk to different people and make connections. It's always good to get yourselves out there and talk to different people about things. So you might find some cards that you never knew existed before that are definitely very, very affordable. So you guys have a fantastic day. If you want to watch some more Pokemon content, click one of the 2 videos there, hit the subscribe button, and hope you have a fantastic rest of your day.